people have weapons at home largely to defend themselves at home from sudden intrusions, robbers, rapists, whoever might come in to their home. And that all happens very quickly.
The opposition has no idea the ramifications of government mandatory safe, storage laws with firearms.
Right.
And your story is the epitome of why they're so dangerous.
In November of 2019, it was a Friday night. My home was broken into, and I refer to him as a crazed man because he was on drugs. He, when you looked at this guy, he didn't look like he was actually there. I'm going to say that's when I retreated back into my bedroom, and I went to, I shut the door very quickly. And the same time that door was hitting, the door hinges to shut, and I slide the lock shut, and I could hear and feel his body slamming against the door. He immediately wanted to gain entry into that bedroom. So he breaks in. I'm in the process of trying to call for help.
Carrying a firearm is a lot easier than carrying a police officer with us, right? We don't have 10 to 15 minutes for them to respond.
He immediately, as soon as he comes in the door, rushes over, gets on top of me on my bed. Like, his weight was on my body. I didn't have much strength or much opportunity to fight him off. I didn't have the education to either.
If you don't want a firearm, that's fine, but you need to be educated.
Educate, not legislate.
I would encourage everybody to take a course, like in the NRA home safety course.
His focus was to get that phone, hang up the phone, so nobody else is aware of what's going on. So I dropped it. Between me punching him and his body weight shifting to get that phone, I was able to get out from underneath him. I ran across the room, opened the top drawer of my dresser, and was able to pull out my firearm, turned it around, and aimed it at him.
Going back to the safe storage laws, because I know that Connecticut, I know now you guys in 2019 that passed, and the only thing that we can do is pogo, pants on, gun on, until you go to bed, or you have a storage unit that is easy access, quick in and out, whether it's a thumbprint, push button, whatever it may be. And it's unfortunate that we have to regress.
Do you feel that you would be here today if your gun was locked up the way Connecticut mandates you to?
No, I wouldn't have. That was my saving grace. That was the tool that I needed. So no, if my gun had to be locked up, I would not be here. I wouldn't be talking to you guys, and we wouldn't be friends.
So it's so imperative that we just be our own self-protectors. Women are of the highest population to suffer a violent attack. If
you have to unlock a gun and go somewhere and you can't keep it by your bedside,
this bill would make even just that little action of keeping it by your bedside at nighttime while you sleep illegal. How is anybody supposed to, at 2:30 in the morning, you hear a rock that breaks through your window, an intruder come in, run across your house, being startled, wake up, try to open up the safe. Hold on, Mr. Intruder. Hold on a second. I have to go to my gun safe and retrieve my weapon. This is such a violation of...
It defeats the whole purpose.
It completely defeats the whole purpose.
So when they push a line, and this is, I go back to Mao Zedong again, in China with the Cultural Revolution, what he called these were mass lines. In other words, what that means is you get the masses to believe a particular line, and everybody pushes along that line. And
right.
And that's exactly what we're seeing happen over and over.
Mass
and over
lines. Huh.
A mass line.
Wow. And we're seeing it in New Mexico. I mean, they're declaring a gun violence state of emergency. Therefore, the governor there's going to try to impede your Second Amendment rights. So it's really tyranny, isn't it?
It is tyranny. These are vehicles to tyranny. The one in New Mexico is particularly egregious because she's trying to claim that gun violence is a public health emergency, and she's using the power of public health, like we just saw from the pandemic, to take away people's Second Amendment right, or try to. And where does that come from? Well, if you go look, the CDC and you see all these other institutions have been publishing all of this information. The United Nations is to frame out gun violence as a public health issue. And so if they can frame it as a public health issue and get people to believe it's a public health issue, a governor can issue a public health emergency and apparently try to remove people's constitutional rights. And you can see how all of this builds on each other, but all it is excuses for tyranny.
Because people can act in evil ways, we should treat their behavior as the problem and hold them accountable and put them in jail for long periods of time. If they're bad people, they shouldn't be out on the street.
Right.
But we've conceded that in a lot of ways, and I think that's something we need to try to reclaim and say, no, like,
Enough.
I'm the gun owning segment of society is more law abiding than just about any other segment of society, including law enforcement, which is the people who are going to enforce the laws that are unconstitutional on the books. So my point is, let's try to get back the narrative that gun ownership is normal, and it has been for the whole history of our country.
Right.
And access to firearms is more restricted now than ever before in the history of our nation.
Second Amendment, I like to say that leave it alone. It works for many years. People need guns. The guns don't kill people. People kill them with the guns on it. So therefore, it worked for 200 years and it will survive, because the bad people, they're gonna have guns no matter what. The good people, they take them away.
You know, I mean, like, of course I'm pro 2A. It's your constitutional right. How could you not want your constitutional rights? I'm just always amazed that people are, you know, demonizing people that support the Second Amendment. It's unbelievable to me. And I think a lot of it's misinformation. A lot of it is just being ideologically captured by, you know, the current thing. And the worst part about it all, in my opinion, is that it's all so cynical. You know, they know what they're doing is wrong and unconstitutional. We know it's wrong and unconstitutional, but they're doing it anyway because it's their politics.